The Newcastle United takeover is off, for now at least. But is there any chance it could be revived? The sounds coming from both the club and the consortium, fronted by Amanda Staveley, seem to be painting a picture that this isn't quite finished yet. And in a bizarre turn of events, the supporters are being encouraged to not give up. What does this all mean? Okay, so on Thursday we had all our hopes dashed by the news that the Saudi-led takeover of Newcastle United was over after the consortium pulled out. We all know the story. They blame the Premier League quite vocally. Amanda Staveley, in an interview with George Colkin in The Athletic, said this. They were saying, you know what, we won't reject you, but we won't approve you either, so we'll just sit here for month after month. They could have told us all this before we exchanged. It's up to the fans now, because if the fans want this back on, they're going to have to go to the Premier League and say that this isn't fair. There's a lot to digest in Staveley's comments, but I think there are three main points here. Firstly, the Premier League made it impossible for the buyers to complete the deal, because it is not possible for a sovereign state to be listed as a director, yet that's what the Premier League were asking for, which is bizarre. I mean, why would the Premier League do that? Was it so that they could then have grounds to reject it? Because that's what it sounds like to me. The fact is, there was nothing in the owners and directors test that they could fail on. So the Premier League simply dragged it out until the buyers had no option but to pull out, which is pretty scandalous if you ask me. Secondly, it appears that Amanda Staveley was deeply invested in this. She wants to own a part of Newcastle United. This deal collapsing has genuinely hurt her. She is emotional about it because she has literally put years of work into trying to buy the club, and she even put money up to do it. And yet, she still isn't able to be an owner. And thirdly, her not very subtle call to arms, which appears to be a genuine instruction for Newcastle United fans to get off their backsides and put pressure on the Premier League if they want this deal to happen still. Does Staveley really believe that this deal could still happen? I don't think anyone truly knows. The interview with George Colkin came hours after the deal had collapsed, so perhaps it was all very raw for her. However, it is a curious thing because Staveley's comments, coupled with Newcastle United's official statement, almost makes it seem like there may still be something going on. The club statement said this. We acknowledge yesterday's statement. Never say never, but to be clear, Mike Ashley is 100% committed to this deal. Brackets sale. However, our current focus must now be on supporting Steve Bruce in the transfer market and on the preparations for the new season. It certainly seems at first glance that there may be legs in the idea that this deal has some life left in it. However, a cynic could point to the fact that Ashley, knowing the season is about to restart very soon, and with season tickets that need selling, is simply playing the optimism card, keeping fans believing that this could happen so that they buy tickets again with the hope of a brighter tomorrow. With Ashley, anything could be true, and in my view, the club's statement was interesting, but ultimately I cannot trust it to have any deeper meaning other than Ashley is at least a willing seller. I doubt very much that the Saudi bid can or will be resurrected, but that is simply opinion. And perhaps I'm being too pessimistic. Time will give us the answer on that, I suppose. That said, the Saudi PIF throwing the towel in and making public accusations at the Premier League in the hope that a deal can somehow be forced through just doesn't seem to make much sense to me. The least we can do, I suppose, is follow Staveley's advice. What have we got to lose by doing so? As you may be aware, there is a petition doing the rounds that aims to put pressure on the government into investigating the Premier League's process. I'm not sure whether it'll change anything, but it can't do any harm to at least sign it. The harsh reality we find ourselves in, though, is that for now at least, we must face up to the fact that we will kick off the new season in 6 weeks' time with Steve Bruce in charge and presumably very little investment in the first team squad. It will be a long and difficult season and not one I expect to see much joy from. The teams that are coming up from the Championship will likely be stronger than the three that are going down, and the likes of Villa are going to strengthen and consolidate their place too. It's going to be a long season and something I'm bound to talk more about on this channel in the coming weeks. But to end on a positive, I do believe Ashley is a willing seller, and I do believe his time at the club is coming to an end sooner rather than later. Personally, I doubt the Saudis will come back in for the club anytime soon, but perhaps Amanda Staveley will do, with new buyers or possibly even with the Reuben brothers again, along with a different majority owner. She certainly seems to have fallen for Newcastle United in some way, so I'm not sure she's ready to pack it in yet. Or perhaps it'll be someone we don't even know and haven't even heard of yet. Either way, keep believing, keep the faith, because one day, somehow, this will all be over and Ashley will leave Newcastle United. If you've liked this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel too, and I will see you really soon for another video.